Did you play MLB The Show 17, 18, or 19? If so, we're rewarding you in The Show 20. Choose the kid, Aaron Judge, or Bryce Harper to join your squad in MLB The Show 20.
PlayStation.
Did you play MLB The Show 17, 18, or 19? If so, we're rewarding you in The Show 20. Choose the kid, Aaron Judge, or Bryce Harper to join your squad in MLB The Show 20.
PlayStation.
Did you play MLB The Show 17, 18, or 19? If so, we're rewarding you in The Show 20. Choose the kid, Aaron Judge, or Bryce Harper to join your squad in MLB The Show 20.
PlayStation.
Did you play MLB The Show 17, 18, or 19? If so, we're rewarding you in The Show 20. Choose the kid, Aaron Judge, or Bryce Harper to join your squad in MLB The Show 20.
PlayStation.
Welcome, everybody. It is so good to see you. It's been a while. Welcome to the first of 8 MLB The Show 20 live streams. We got 2 live streams going on today. The first one is all about defense, and we're going to start talking about it in just a quick second. But before we get there, a few housekeeping things. The legacy reward bonus. You don't have to do anything. If you played any of those games, 17, 18, 17, 18, and 19, you don't have to do anything. Once you log in, if you purchase 20, you will get those rewards. So there's nothing on your end that you need to do. Also, the double dailies, they work kind of how you think they work. You get 1 login per day. You now get 2, and that will go on for the life cycle of MLB The Show 20. So we're going to talk about defense. We'll be right back. Whoa. Maybe we won't be right now.
Crack baby, bass similar. Big crazy, come where you living at. Kick down the door, get down and get gone. I ain't come here for the chit chat, but I'm far removed from that gangster shit. It don't make much sense, rather make me rich. Don't be playing with my money, it'll make me flip. And in the last couple lines, I'ma contradict. Little bit of this, little bit of that. Little bit of this, little bit of that.
PlayStation.
And we're back. Joining us on the couch sitting to my right is gameplay director, Sony PlayStation, 22 years in San Diego, Chris Gill. And to my left, gameplay producer and designer, Kyle Saul. So, defense was a big focus for MLB The Show 20. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Excited to come do this again for another year. It's freezing in here, so
ice cold.
If you guys see me shaking, it's because it's like 2 degrees, like an igloo. And they won't let me wear my big jacket either.
Nope, can't wear the big jacket.
Yeah, defensively, I just say gameplay in general. I think we wanted to add another level of intensity and focus in MLB 2020. I felt like the game was becoming a little bit too predictable in certain situations, and so we did a little bit of stuff on both sides of the field, on the defensive side and on the base running side, to kind of combat those things. We have a couple new features in our game this year. The Extreme Catch Indicator is a super cool new feature, essentially, and we're going to get into all these things too that I mentioned right now. We'll break them down. The Extreme Catch Indicator is essentially an indicator that comes onto the field, and it's showing you a difficult type play on those sinking line drives that come into the outfield. We're in Major League Baseball when these guys have to make those quick last-second decisions. Do I charge that ball? Do I dive for it? Do I play off it? Do I get caught in between and have to knock it down? Those are the kind of things that we're bringing with the Extreme Catch Indicator, and again, I'll break that down. We changed the throw meter stuff, the throw meter accuracy meter. It made it a little bit more difficult this year. It just felt like some of those plays at the plate, when you're trying to score a run from second base, on those base hits to the outfield, and those guys trying to throw, combining those two together, I wanted the base runners to be able to be a little bit more aggressive. I didn't want those plays where that happen all the time in our game, where you feel like you already know what the outcome is going to be. They become predictable. And I feel like just watching people play on streams and just internally when we're playing the game, those are some of the things that have been kind of something that I've been wanting to work on for a really long time. And so putting those things together, I think, really creates this new dynamic and feeling when you're on defense of having to focus and having to be a little bit more intense. In baseball, and Kyle knows this, he was a college athlete and played outfield. You can't take a play off. When you do, you're going to get exposed.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's important that, that level of intensity and focus I'm talking about when you're on the defensive side is that you feel like you have to be engaged in every single play. I need to know who I have out in the outfield. So drafting a team is going to become even more important this year. Who do I have in left? Who do I have in center? Who do I have in right? not only on the defensive side, knowing who I have, but on the offensive side, and knowing who's playing out there, which will allow me to know how accurate that guy is in throwing, how strong is his arm. Can I take an extra base? Can I not? And so it's this game within the game now that we've created, and I honestly do think this is a game changer.
Definitely is.
There is going to be a learning curve, especially with the throw accuracy meter. It's going to feel a little quick at first. We got some feedback from our live beta feedback that we got when it went public. And we kind of knew that going into it. We've made some adjustments to that. Feel like it's at a really good point right now that, once it goes out live and people get their hands on it, it's going to feel a little bit different, right, than it did last year. But the cool part about it is it's challenging, and I really like that aspect of it. So why don't we
first screen?
Why don't we get into
let's see
some of the stuff I'm talking about? We'll go into the details as we go through them.
And also, guys, there's no sweepstakes today. Twitch drops are active, but there are no sweepstakes, no keyword today.
Stop putting in hobby buy.
Yeah, so you stop putting in hobby buy-ins. It doesn't do anything. All right, so what are we looking at, Gil?
All right, so the first thing I wanted to bring up here before we show the live action stuff that we got going on, when you are batting or when you're on defense, you can hit R3 and it will bring up this screen, and it's our defensive attribute screen, and it basically is self-explanatory. It's giving you all the attributes of the defensive players, the ones that are applicable, right? The ones that you need to know.
For sure.
So essentially it's a scouting report. So when you're playing in the big leagues, these guys have scouting reports before you go into a game. They know who's in the outfield. They know how strong their arms are. They know how good of a defenders they are, right? This is something you can bring up quickly in a game in case guys are making defensive substitutions and you haven't done your homework before the game started. You can quickly see, okay, I'm in a situation here. I got a runner on second. It's the 8th inning. It's a tie game. Am I going to take a chance of scoring my guy from second who's maybe, let's just say he's a 65 runner. He's an average runner, right? Am I going to take my chance? Well, if I look at this screen, I'm going to see, quickly pull it up. I got arm strength of 66 in left field and arm accuracy of 51. Center field, I got 97.69 and 79.61 in right. So right away, that's telling me the same things a third base coach is going to tell, right, Kyle?
Absolutely.
So,
Not going to run on that guy in center.
not running
He's
on
got
the guy
a
in
strong,
center.
accurate arm.
well, that
so
third
for sure.
base coach has to know that, but your third base coach in this game is not talking to you, right?
Right.
Because you're playing from a perspective where you have to see everybody and you got to see the whole field. So you're not
Absolutely.
picking up the third base coach like you are on Road to the Show. You're just playing the regular game. So you have to know this stuff on your own. You have to be your own coach. And so we're given this. I love this screen. I think this kind of sums up everything we're trying to do this year on this one screen because it gives you all the information you need. And so, yeah, I'm going to make that decision now. I know if I hit the ball to left field, I might take a chance on that, 66 arm. But if it's hit to center, I'm holding up with less than 2 outs. I'm holding up at third, and I'm giving my next guy a chance of scoring me because I'm not going to run on that 97 arm. We'll get into more details about how the 97 arm strength and the 69 arm accuracy affects the throw accuracy meter as we move on. But that's why this screen's up here right now, and it kind of sums all that up. It also lets you know, like, look, if I'm on defense and I have that extreme catch indicator come up, I might not go charge that ball. So
Right.
let's go to the first
Outfield start
Outfield
transition.
start trans.
You see that on there. Okay. So we're going to break down each one of these things. This year, our outfielders, this is going to be your best break on this direction. Now, you have to remember, you can break in 8 different directions in our game. So when the ball's hit, your player is put into a start transition, right?
Which the user does not control. This is done automatically based on the attributes of the player. You
Exactly.
can't override this.
Exactly, and you guys know this. All you guys that have played our game for years, you know that we start you out in a direction. Because you are playing from the perspective you're playing, it's extremely difficult to be able to know where to go, where the ball is, or what. So we start you in the right direction every single time. No matter what your rating is, we're going to give you the right path. Then it's up to you, using that player's attribute to get to that ball. And speed's going to be a big factor at that point, right? But the start transition is where we are being able to simulate the attribute of the fielder. Okay, so the very best fielders are going to get the very best start transition. And then it just scales down, right? So the very worst guy is going to get the worst. What you guys might know already is that in the past we have
Bad jumps.
bad jumps, right? So guys that are playing out of position are going to get those a lot. The guys that are like, maybe 25 fielding attribute in the outfield, they're going to get those a lot. The bad jump at start transitions. These aren't bad jump start transitions. These are just first step reactions. And so this makes a huge difference in our game. And I know in the past there's been a meta out there that, not enough line drives are falling. And so one of the things I wanted to touch on too is some of the stuff that we're doing on defense, that's not always an offensive problem. Like the changes don't always have to be in the batting engine to fix what's happening.
Right.
If we want a higher batting average on line drives that are hit hard into the outfield, the defense can't be perfect, right? So we have to make adjustments, and it goes both ways. So we have to work together on that. So part of that and that balance this year is going to be on the start transitions. So let's go through each one of these. This is, did we start out with the, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm just trying to read this.
No delay pivot.
What's that?
No delay.
No
pivot.
delay pivot.
Okay, that's the no delay pivot. Okay, so go on to the next one.
Like delay.
Just need a slight delay.
And this one's going to be a slight delay. So if you see here, you saw on the first one, he just did a jump pivot and took off in 135 degrees to his left. On this one, you see that he moved his right foot first and took off in the exact same direction. Go ahead and go to the third slide.
And yes, these all apply to the computer as well. You'll see these are computer, and it just applies to everybody.
And so on this one, you'll see that he moves his left foot first, then his right foot, and then he goes in that direction. And now understand, this is not super noticeable when you're playing. Like essentially, and Kyle can attest to this too, or anybody that's played baseball, you guys know you're not going to get the perfect jump every single time. So we're trying to simulate that exact thing that happens in real life, which is it's not a computer video game. They're not going to get the exact direct line to the ball. So we have to do something that supports the player's attribute. And that's what we're doing here. So this is the very beginning of the play, and this is how it starts. Right away, you're going to see a huge difference in our game and how it's balanced, offensively and defensively, because of this. And again, if you have a 99 guy out there, he's going to be using the fastest ones every single time. But we scale it all the way to the lowest guy, right? So the lowest attributed outfielder, if you're playing out of position,
Charlie Blackman.
you're going to get the lowest of the three start transitions the majority of the time. If you're an average outfielder, we mix them up. So it won't always be the same, and sometimes you'll get a really good jump.
Yeah, and this doesn't mean that you're not going to get to the ball.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Some balls will fall. Sometimes you will catch a ball. But another thing is not just if you catch the ball, it's how you catch the ball, and which is a big difference. If it's a deep fly ball and guys are trying to tag up, this start transition might mean you can't round that ball to try to get a really strong throw to the cutoff man. It may end up to where you're running hard at the wall, and you have to play a catch that's going to take a little bit longer for him to turn around and throw it. So there's a lot of granularity in here.
There is. And well, listen, it adds a lot of variety too, right? So if we're talking about predictability, we're talking about things that you've seen in our game for so many years that you're like, okay, not necessarily bored, but this stuff's going on, and I see this all the time. When the ball's hit, I already kind of know what's going to happen because I've played this game so much. It's different now, you guys. Trust me. When you play this game, it's completely different. And it's for the better. And you're going to have fun playing defense now. And when I tell you that you have to have a little bit more focus when you're playing defense, seriously, what do you think, Kyle?
No, I think it just continues to make fielding ability matter. All the decisions you're making when you're creating your teams and stuff like that matter. And really, it's just another step to watching like the realism on the field, adding the bad routes, first step stuff. It brings that realism into the game, and it really adds that differentiating tiers and stuff, and makes all the decisions that you make very, very important.
Yeah, it does. And remember, the bad route stuff, you don't get that confused with bad jumps. And bad jumps are starting out where you might not be going in the right direction. Those have been in there for a couple years. This is new, these three things. The CPU will take bad routes also, depending on the scaling of the player and their attribute, just so that they're not always taking perfect lines to the ball.
All right. Want to jump into ECI?
So this is a good segue into the extreme catch indicator. Okay. Super excited about the extreme catch indicator. What you're going to see here on the field is a red ball display in place of the ball marker. And there's three things that can happen on this, actually four. But when you're attacking these balls in the outfield, you can see on the first one he caught it. The second one he missed it. I'm just going to let this play and then we'll talk about it. And I'll just tell you what's going on here. These are the different examples that can happen on this one particular hit. So he charged that ball the first time, and he made a diving catch and a diving miss. If you don't dive and you pull full stick on the throttle, you can move on to the next one. I thought that's what you were doing. I'm like, okay, he keeps diving.
I'm like, he keeps diving.
Now go on to the next one. So the next one's going to be a shoestring catch. So if shoestring, there you go. Now we're on the same page. So you can run up, you can dive, you can keep running, pushing full stick on the throttle, and try to do a shoestring. You can't even say that 10 times.
Shoestring, yeah.
Shoestring catches.
Shoestring catch.
So there's some risk and reward there.
And I just wanted to show you guys and give you examples. There is a risk and reward. Yeah, it's exactly why we're putting up that red indicator. We're telling you that this is a play that it's extreme, that you might not get it, and situationally, you're going to want to go ahead and move on to the next one, Colin. So this is the very next level where you kind of get caught in between. Oh no, that's not eat up. That's play off the ball. You went out of order on me, Colin. You're out of order. Okay, here we go. So here's the this is when you get caught in between. So you can see he let go of the stick. He was going to charge it. He's like, oh crap, I'm not going to get to the ball. So he lets go of the stick. He pulls up and he knocks the ball down. Those are two examples right there of what can happen. Now we'll go on to the next one, then I'll explain all this here in a second. And so the very last thing you do, right away you recognize, okay, there's another one where you got eaten up. And this is play off the ball, Colin.
Play off the ball.
So if you want to play it really conservative, you just stop. Okay, now just go ahead and stop. Stop playing them, Colin. Okay, so what you saw there, I'll try to sum that up. The very first example was dives, right? You can see, and I want to show examples that no matter what you did, you can catch it or you can miss it, right?
Absolutely.
So there's a risk or reward with the extreme catch indicator. Essentially, this is like trying to simulate what it's like in real life to charge those sinking line drives.
Yeah.
Any baseball player that's playing at a high level will tell you that you cannot just charge those sinking line drives as hard as you can, that we've been able to do in the past, and the ball magically ends up in your glove.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
like
how
a vacuum.
frustrating I'm sure these guys are watching the stream when you're playing and you smoke a line drive in the left, right? And that left fielder comes sprinting in and you want to score your guy from second. But in our game in the past, you were able just to play a charging catch and the ball would bounce right up into the mitt and you'd throw a strike to home easily because the meter was easy to hit too on the green.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're going to get more into that. But it was very predictable in that sense.
Because they just weren't cognizant of the fact that there's a risk of me charging this
There was
ball.
no risk.
There's
There
no
was no
risk at
punishment
all.
for
Last
that.
year there was no risk and no punishment for just charging
And
that
every
sinking
year
line
we've
drive.
had this game, there's been no risk in those plays, and it's always been frustrating, but also you guys have to understand that we pick and choose what we work on every year. We have tons of stuff that we want to change all the time, and we want to improve this game and make it better for all you guys, and that's what we're constantly trying to do. I just feel like bringing that focus and excitement to defense now and being engaged in every single defensive play, you have to be aware of these things, and you have to make quick decisions the same way you do, right,
Yeah,
Kyle?
absolutely.
In the outfield.
Absolutely.
What was it like for you? Were you able to charge those balls?
No, I mean, yeah, you're not sure. Am I holding my glove like this, and then situationally too? Where are the runners? Is it smart just to concede the hit and let the guy hold it third so we can possibly get out at home or something
and
like
another
that?
thing-
So, well, I was going to say real quick, how pissed would your coach have been if you
Furious.
charged one of those balls and you missed and it went to the wall when you were up by 2 with no one on in the 8th inning, right?
It's happened, so not happy. He was pretty pissed. It's happened, so I made that mistake.
So now you got the tying run on second,
right? Yeah, and the
or
runs
third,
right,
right?
and not
so
happy about it.
It's a really good point that Kyle brought up about situational, because that's exactly what you got to do. And when I brought up that scouting report earlier, or the defensive attribute screen we showed at the beginning, you're going to want to look at that. You're going to want to have a scouting report, and situationally, when you're on defense, you're going to want to know what the situation is. If that run is important on second, I better think twice about charging that
definitely.
extreme catch. I better play off that ball. If I play off that ball, you're going to be safe. You're going to make that catch 100% of the time, no matter who you are, because you're playing off of it. You get caught in between, you're going to either catch it or boot it, depending on your attribute, okay? And we scale that the same way. If I got a 99 out there and I get caught in between, he's probably going to scoop that up and catch it. He'll still miss it because it's a very tough play, but he's not going to miss it as much as a guy that's like a 25 out there, right? And the same thing goes for all those catches, like when he's charging, shoestring, or diving.
Right.
It increases the chances the better the player is, obviously.
And just to reiterate before we jump to the relay meter, this is just sinking line drives. Extreme catch indicator only pops up on those sinking, hard-to-play line drives. This isn't going to happen 20 times in the game.
No.
It's going to be a few plays in the game unless you're just smacking the ball all around the field.
Yeah.
It only happens on sinking line drives.
Yeah, and it'll happen within a certain degree of you in front of you. So we'll play, without getting into too much coding detail, at almost like a 45-degree cone in front of you. So on those sinking line drives that are in front of you, not necessarily have to be right in front of you. It could be off to the right or left a little bit.
Relay meter.
Okay,
jump
so
into it?
let's just talk about the throw accuracy meter changes in general. Go ahead and pause real quick. Let me just explain what they're going to see so it's not crazy. So the throw accuracy meter this year, we made some adjustments. I thought that in the past, Kyle and I, we had these discussions about how easy it was to hit green on the meter.
Yep.
Yeah. Very easy.
Regardless of who you had out there. If I had a 35 arm accuracy guy out in left field, it was still easy to hit that green. Not only was it easy to hit the green, it didn't scale properly based on how far you were throwing the ball, right? So if I'm in the outfield, I mean, how many times do you guys watch highlights and do you see outfield assist to home plate when you're watching highlight reel, ESPN or MLB, network, and you're watching those highlights? You're not seeing that. But when they happen, they'll show it because it's an exciting play and it's a very difficult play, right? So if I'm throwing the ball over 225 feet, 250 feet, somewhere from the outfield, and I'm trying to throw a guy out at the plate, that's an extremely difficult play. So what we wanted to do this year is we wanted to take the player's attribute and then incorporate that with user skill. And we wanted to make sure that you always had the ability as a user to get better and better at this and be able to accomplish something so that it's put in the user's hands and it's not always just about the player's attribute. So it's a combination of both. If you become really good at this, at the new throw meter, you can nail guys at the plate. You know why? Because what do we have? Perfect accuracy throw home, right? So what we also added to the throw meter is a perfect line on throws to the plate, and we call it the throw home indicator. So the throw home indicator is a perfect line right in the middle, similar to pitching, the pitching meter. And if you hit that line, you will get a perfect throw to home plate, unlike last year when you would hit it in the green. And if you hit it in the green on either side of that perfect line, you're still going to get a good throw, okay? And you're still going to get a nice tag from there, but it's not perfect. Gotcha. And we're going to show you some examples here of why or what a game changer the perfect line is.
Yeah, I think they don't like this.
And I have to say, like, I'm probably more excited about this. I still have fun. I've done this about 1,000.
At least. At
least
10,000
You did it 1,000 times yesterday.
And I get excited in my office, and Kyle's sitting right outside, and he hears me when I nail the line.
He's yelling. He's screaming.
Because it's fun, and it's fun every single time, and I love. Go ahead, Colin. Go ahead and roll this. So what you're going to see here is not only did we add it to throw home for the outfielders, but we have it for throwing to the relay guy as well.
Yes, that's new.
How's that gonna?
So right here, I'll explain that in a second. So right here, you saw a perfect throw to the relay guy, and then not a perfect throw from the relay guy to home. It was still green, which gave him a good throw, but it wasn't perfect. Okay, so I believe this is the exact same. You saw that line was perfect, and then this is offline.
Yep.
And he's safe. Are you playing the same one over, Colin?
Yeah, that was the same.
Next one.
Okay, so here's the next one. I think these two are going to be perfect. Perfect. So, and then you see the little animation of home plate. Okay, pause it.
Money throw.
Okay, you guys understand. Those two plays were exactly the same. What you saw in the first one was I made a perfect throw to the relay man, and when you see the relay man move to his left a little bit or move to his right, that's perfect. And right at him is perfect. There's three perfects. There's just a little bit to the right. Don't worry about him moving left to right. What is important as a middle infielder is that you get a good ball you can handle, a ball that I can catch and throw, and it needs to be at my chest. And that's what happens in our game in the past, we have so much variety in our relay throws. Sometimes people would complain that they're not getting rid of the ball. They're not getting rid of the ball. And so I looked at that and I thought, well, let's put that in the user's hands. Let's make the user responsible for giving them a perfect throw. Now, if you hit the green, you can still get relay catches that are still efficient and get rid of the ball.
Just not perfect.
But what we're
Just
going
not
to
perfect.
guarantee you is if you hit that perfect line, that means an outfielder's throwing the ball right in his chest, gives him the ability to make another perfect throw if he wants to home plate. Makes perfect sense to me, right?
And so with the perfect throw homes, if I'm the catcher, where are those throws going to be to the catcher?
It's a good question because some of our online throws that if you still hitting the green on the other side of each of that perfect line, they're still going to be very good throws. You can look at it this way. The catcher's left foot is always going to be rooted at home plate in a position where he can catch the ball and then come back and make a tag. The good online accurate throws to home are always going to keep that catcher's left foot anchored, okay? So he might reach far to his left or up, but we all know, and you guys all know playing this game, when we talk about the predictability part, when you see that happening, or in the past when you would when you were running the bases, you knew whether you could come home or not because you knew what those outcomes were going to be. And now with that perfect line, when you're running, you're not going to know if that guy's going to have a perfect throw or not.
Right.
That perfect throw is going to be right on the dish. So the throw comes literally from left field, all fields, right? The throw is going to be low and right in the position where he tags. So he'll catch and tag. Whoops. Catch and
Lost
tag.
his mic.
So there's like a risk and reward there too on the offensive side, knowing that the defense has the opportunity to hit perfect, get that bang bang play at the plate. So there's another little addition where you got to pay attention. You got to be mindful of who's out there, checking the screen, making sure you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
who can make
Yeah,
that
Kyle's right. Like, I think when we brought up the defensive positioning attribute screen, when we brought that up, we were talking about it as a scouting report. These are the times you're going to want to go in there and you're going to look at that and say, okay, look, I got that 90 guy out in the outfield, right? Or I got that 60 guy, and then what are his chances of hitting that? And so you guys understand that we're scaling that throw meter too. So your 99s in the outfield are going to have a bigger green margin, and we're going to pull. The closer you get to that needle in the middle for perfect throws, you're going to have an advantage. We'll pull you in a little bit if you're really close. The opposite happens if you're 25. We'll pull you away from it a little bit, okay? So in all transparency, that's what's going on. We only have so many pixels to work with in that meter. So you're going to see that line. Just understand that thing's going to be brought in a little bit more if you're borderline, but it's going to be pushed away if you're out of position.
Yeah, and you can't
or near the
see
guy.
what your opponent got. So that's the
Yeah,
risk
there's the
reward.
risk.
You got to decide, do I send this guy? That's why that scouting report to bring up the
big.
defense is so important, because in real gameplay, you're not going to be able to see if they went perfect, basically on the throw to the home and throw the relay
I'm
guys.
telling you guys, this is a game changer, and you got to trust me. I've been doing this for 22 years, and I'm having more fun right now playing on defense, and I do this every day, and sometimes it's not fun because I do it so much. But incorporating these new features has become so fun for me to be able to test the game and balance the game and try to get it right for these guys. I think it's super exciting, and they're really going to enjoy the game within the game when they're starting to play with it.
So many more outcomes you're going to see this year. So let's jump into two
Yeah,
more
two
videos.
more.
Oh, let's show them.
Throw from center field home.
Okay, so here you got a guy tagging up from third base, get behind the ball. I miss it. I throw yellow, or that was right on the borderline green-yellow, so it was still a good throw.
Still a good throw. And
Still
so
good
you see
throw,
the
just-
catcher didn't move, right? His
Catcher's
foot's still on
left
the
foot was
plate,
anchored.
but he had to go like this to make that play.
Exact same. Is it replay the same one?
Yeah, just showing it again.
Okay,
Remember,
so
still
it was
a green throw, right?
Yeah, it was yellow. I'm sorry, green.
That was And this is perfect.
So this is the exact same play, and you see the little animation of home plate above the perfect meter. Exact same play, same runner, same everything, and you see the difference. One guy was out, one guy was safe, and there's your reward for being a good, skilled user player, right? So we're putting the game in your hands. You have the opportunity to do this as long as your guy in the outfield has the ability to get the ball to home plate. You can't just do this with anybody. So the guy in center field's got to have a decent arm strength from that distance, right? He can't have a 22 arm strength. It's not going to make it home. So the attributes do matter. Player skill matters. We're combining those two to balance it. That one's perfect, Colin.
I also saw a question. It's not necessary. You don't have to get the perfect throw home to throw a runner out. You can still hit it in that green
Yeah,
area
you
and
still
throw
hit him
someone
in the
out.
green and throw somebody out.
And that's just an example of yellow that you guys are all used to, just showing that we still have that. So if you're off it's going to take them up the line one way or the other. Okay, you can move on, Colin. Did we cover that pretty well? The throw meter stuff?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I wanted, okay, I think it'd be a good time to, what's the next thing on there?
Catcher
Catcher
steal.
steal tags?
Throws and tags.
Okay, let's do that, and then we'll bring up the
Button
throw
accuracy?
meters,
Okay.
the button accuracy side. So let's go to the catcher. Okay, hold on. Hit pause real quick. So the next thing we're going to look at here is the catcher. This is the throw meter on the catcher. The catcher also has the ability to make a perfect throw on a steal. The catcher meter is a little bit, I think it's a little bit more difficult just because of the timing. And I think in general, when you get surprised that a guy's running and then that pops up and then you got to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so, I mean, I think, again, it's like, I think it's really cool. You got to be focused in this game on defense. You can't just pitch the ball and let the defense play and not do anything. If you want to win, you want to be competitive in this game and have competitive games online when you're trying to work up the ranks, then you're going to have to really focus. And I really appreciate that level of detail on the defensive side. So on the catching, here's some examples of the catcher throw meter. Go ahead, Colin. Roll it. So the first one was green, but it wasn't perfect. So you're going to get the same thing with the left foot rooted. He's not leaving the base. Okay, can you play that one more time? Hit pause. Okay, what I want you guys to pay attention to on this one is something that we changed this year, which is also a game changer in my opinion. When you're playing the tags, the last few years we've been making this game, we haven't had the ability to have tags from the catch positions all the time, right? So if you're sliding into second base, or if you thought you were throwing a guy out, and a lot of times you would see this hitch. So in our game, all of our catches were going through a tag pose, okay? So wherever they caught that ball in a steal, they would have to go to a common pose. From that pose, they would go into a tag. What we did this year is we got tags directly from the catch location. So when he catches that ball and he's bringing his hand across the tag, it's coming from the catch, exactly like it does in a big league game when you're watching real baseball players, right?
Yeah.
So there is no hitch in between. It's going to be this nice smooth catch. So if your throw beats the guy there, you're going to get a nice smooth tag. This is happening at home plate and at second. In both those areas where you're trying to throw guys out at the plate or stealing, you'll see a big difference, and it changes the game. So go ahead now. You'll see that.
Off one throw.
Into the box, Kyle Schwarber. Runners on the move for second. In there, now the throw.
Where he reaches, and he's safe here because the throw was offline and the guy could run a little bit. But I'm going to show you an example also.
In there, now the throw.
The same thing. So here's a really good example of I put a slow runner on first. It's going to be an offline throw a little bit. But you're going to see the tag start from the catch. So that tag has already started now. He's in his tag, slower runner, and you get him out.
No
Whereas
hitch.
before there was a hitch,
No
and
animation
potentially
hitch.
it wasn't blending straight through that. You could have got him out. What's this one?
So now to the plate.
Same one.
Schwarber. Strike take the throw.
Yeah, it looks real nice.
So there, and we just showed it slowed down there. And those times when this is perfect. Boom, right in the middle.
Money.
And you see where the throw was. Very similar to at home plate where the throw is going to be right on the bag, okay? And that is going to scale based on that catcher's rating too. So you're going to see a big difference with catchers this year, and we'll get into that next. Was that the last one of those? Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. So catchers matter. Hit pause. That was the last one on there. We're going to move on to catcher blocking rating.
Button accuracy or catcher blocking?
Oh, yeah, we were going to let's stay with the meter. You're right. Okay. Before we move on, let's pull up Ramon's slides he has, and let's talk a little bit about. Hold on a second though. No. Go ahead and pull up the slide. Go ahead and pull up the slide. Okay, I just want to back up a little bit and talk about the throw meter and how we are adjusting the scale of the green region in the middle. Okay, so we want to put this game in the user's hands. We want the better players to be able to beat the guys that aren't as good, and we want those guys that aren't as good to to work hard to getting better so that they can kind of not necessarily master all these mechanics, but actually have a chance. So what we did was we sped up the needle that moves across the meter. We sped that up a little bit for everybody. We are always keeping the green straight up center of that meter. So if you're really good at this meter and you figure it out, no matter who you have, even if the sliver of green is the tiniest you've ever seen, if you can get it right to the middle and hit perfect, then you'll get a good if you can get that rhythm and timing of the meter, you can nail it every single time.
Yeah, there's a learning curve.
There is a learning curve. So like if I go back and play last year's game, for example, right now, I cannot hit the green because I'm so used to the new meter.
How fast it is.
Yes, I can't. So if I have to go compare anything right now, it's very hard for me to play last year's game. And when you pick up this game, you will struggle a little bit at first, okay? To be honest, you will. But you'll figure it out. It's not rocket science. You'll get used to it. You play it, and it's going to feel great because it's more challenging. The other part of that is that what we're going to show you in this slide here is how the different attributes affect the green region. Not only the attributes, but the difficulty of the play and the distance of the throw. We take all of that stuff into account, and then we determine a size that we're going to give you, and that scales in the middle. And so what we have here on the left side is two different players making an extreme, I shouldn't say extreme catch because it's not the extreme catch indicator, making a difficult play to his left, and you could see the size of the green, the difference, right? So the guy on the top, I think, is about a 60-something, you were saying?
Yeah, Justin
Turner's
Turner,
60.
he has around a 60 arm accuracy attribute, and you got Nolan Arenado, he's got around 83 arm accuracy attribute. And that's a ball with an exit velocity around 98 miles per hour, and they're going to their right. So that's a difficult play to make.
Tough play for a third
It's a
baseman.
tough play for a third baseman. What you can see is on the tough plays is where your elite defenders are going to stand out more. You can see Justin Turner's sweet spot. There's a significant difference between his green and Nolan Arenado's green. But on the routine plays, like Gil didn't want to make routine plays crazy. If you look at the play on the far right, this is a routine ground ball. You can see there's not as big of a difference on the routine ground ball, same play, same exact players as you see on the much harder ground ball on your far left. So your routine plays, you're not going to notice a giant difference, but those few plays a game where it's a hard play for a fielder to make, when you got that gold glove guy trying to fill that ball, that's when you're going to see a difference. Same thing with what you see here in the outfield. You have Charlie Blackmon, who crushes the ball in the box, not really known for his defensive prowess. Below you have Cody Bellinger, who turned out to be a really, really good defensive fielder, and you can see the difference in their sweet spots.
Yeah, and don't pay attention to the red that where he left the needle. He just did that for demonstration of the green spot, just so the meter came up and we took a snapshot. The other thing I wanted to mention about outfield throws, this goes back to what I was talking about, making those plays more exciting and less predictable, right? So because we are scaling it, we're using that formula, distance is huge, okay? So you need to check the player arm accuracy rating of those guys. And the distance at which they're throwing the ball to home, you're going to see a far less, it's going to be a lot more difficult to make those assists at bases from far throws, especially to home plate, okay? But what we did was add that perfect line to them, which you don't see in these examples because they weren't throwing to home. But if they were, you would see the perfect line or throwing to the cutoff guy, and we added that to give you that chance. But it really adds another level to the game where you're going to want to change the way that you play the game, basically.
And one other addition, I'm not sure if I might have missed it when you were talking about it, but in addition to the speed of the needle, you're only allowed to attempt that throw one time.
Yeah.
We're not going to let you cycle through it anymore.
No,
you get one
chance.
shot to hit that green.
Now you can go to a different base.
Yeah.
But you can't go back to the same base because I know what you think. Oh, well, what if I cancel my throw? You can cancel your throw, but if you try to go back to the same base, you're going to get the throw input you had the first time.
Yep.
So if you put an input in the first base and it's yellow and then you decide to go to second base, yes, you'll get a brand new meter to go to second base. But if you try to come back to first, you do not get a new meter. We're saving your input for your first throw.
Yep.
To me, this is going to be the most frustrating to you guys because it's like giving like a kid an ice cream cone and then going, here, give that back. Because essentially what we were doing for you guys is allowing you to have as many throws as you want, which doesn't make any sense at all. If I make a decision to throw to a base, that's my decision. That's what I'm doing. Just because you can preload in our game doesn't mean that we should allow you to do it 10 times before the ball comes down. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So it adds, again, another level of intensity and focus and less predictability. You get one shot at it. And again, you guys will get used to this, I promise. It takes a little time. It took time for me. It took time for Ramon and Kyle. And
Yeah.
these guys play the game a lot. So just bear with it for a little bit. I think you're going to enjoy it. It's very competitive.
Yeah.
It does. It brings another level.
Catcher's block rating?
Okay, so catchers matter, you guys. They mattered last year. We did some adjustments to them last year, but this year we made sure that the blocking animations for the catcher were well-rounded all the way to the ground and gave the 99s the ability to truly block the way that a real major league catcher blocks the ball and gets in front of balls. So the way that we do this is we take the player's blocking ability and we scale just like we do everything else. So if you're playing all the way from playing out of position to being a 99 catcher, we will change a couple things. When the ball is in the dirt, we're either going to let you block it perfectly if you're a 99 guy who won't always block it perfectly, right? There's a little bit of wiggle room in there. So we have the ability to drift. We have animations, I think 6, where we block straight down, we go to the right, 1 level, 2 levels, 3 levels to the left, 1 level, 2 level, 3 levels. We have those animations, and we can blend in between, and we can drift you in between. So what we do is, if you're a really good catcher, you're going to square up on those balls the majority of the time. If you're not as good, you're going to have trouble getting in front of them, okay? Everything in between is going to be pretty average, and you're going to have a lot of good block balls. Most Major League Baseball catchers can block. Their timing's always generally pretty perfect, right? But there's some guys that are just amazing at it.
Yeah.
And so we take those statistics that we get from Major League Baseball, the blocking ability, and we incorporate it into the game. So blocking's become a little bit more is intuitive as far as how good those guys are.
Also, guys, no sweepstakes today, no keyword, but Twitch drops are active. So we're going to talk about this
Yeah,
play?
the first guy is a guy that's playing out of position. This guy has no business catching. I swapped the catcher out with the left fielder. And so that's what
And
the guy's
ball's
going
gone.
to do.
Clown
So
show.
good luck.
Yikes. Big yikes.
Please don't mistake this for our new Major League Baseball block ball. That is out of position. So essentially we're simulating a guy that's never been back there before, and you just put a guy back there and he's going, why the hell did you put me back here? I'm not a catcher. This is scary.
That's
And he's scared, and so he's just...
That is.
So it's kind of funny, but it is what it is. The next one is... where's that?
It's
Grenier.
right there.
This-
Grenier, 67 block rating.
Oh, there it is. Okay. You didn't have his name. That's Grenier.
Grenier.
Okay, yeah, this is Grenier with a 67 block rating. So you're going to see his timing at which he goes down. And when you go into the Zoom, Colin, go ahead and pause it right now. Okay, so go ahead a little further till the ball gets to him. You can see that gap as he's starting to come down. He's not all the way down in his block ball position, okay? So go ahead and play it. And now he's all the way down, okay? Go ahead and go on to the next one. So the next slide, or the next shot is going to be Perez. He's a 95. And you can see in this example how he gets all the way down. So you see the difference between him and the last one. He's getting all the way down in his blocking position. Now, I'm just showing you examples. This isn't going to happen 100% of the time, but we have the room to play with the timing of which he comes down, right? So that ball doesn't scoot underneath him and get to the backstop. And we have the ability to change how he shifts. And this is something that was kind of neglected a little bit in the past that we've really focused on, and we're going to have really cool I think catchers, when you're drafting catchers or choosing who you want behind the plate, defense is going to matter a lot more this year.
Yeah, and also with these same 3 players, Gil did a test where basically he threw over 1,000 balls in the dirt. And Perez blocked a very high percentage of those balls. And you saw the bell curve numbers go down as the catcher blocking ratings go down. So we're really excited about this feature.
Yeah, and you can see there too, like higher. He's 95 blocking. Those better catchers almost just let it. It's just like it's so soft off of their chest and chest protector. They're really good at keeping that ball in front of them. Those better guys. So that's another thing that Gil was focused on when he was in there capturing these and working with the catchers that we had.
Fielder
Yeah,
efficiency.
and it wasn't just that, too. We had some issues, too, last year. Some of you guys probably saw the ball go through the catcher. We've addressed those issues, some replay issues with the ball going through, right, or getting to the backstop. So the collision part with the physics of the ball has been worked on.
Fielder
Okay.
efficiency?
Yeah, so
We're holding it. All right.
What, fill time?
Field time.
The fielder, if it's okay, we can. The fielder efficiency. So the next thing I have on here, and just like in the years past, we are in that motion capture studio probably more than any other sports title. I mean, we have the luxury of having our own studio here on campus, and so when we need anything, Kyle knows this because he's over there a lot
Just
doing
go over
stances
there.
and stuff. We're able to get over there and do it. I have a lot of really solid connections in baseball where we can get really good athletes in here to do our motion capture.
Definitely.
And so it's been a blessing for us to be able to put in as many animations as we have annually. And I hope you guys appreciate this stuff. And I'm talking from subtle things to big things. One of the biggest things is efficiency. We started really focusing on efficiency about 3 years ago in different situations. And if you go back, I think 2 years ago, we talked about exploits and being able to combat those exploits. And that took a lot of hours in the motion capture studio of being able to tag and throw, right? Branching out of certain things that we just didn't have animations for, where you would have to wait for them to get to a certain branch point before they could throw. We continue to do that. You have to understand we have this library of animations in gameplay where things can happen. Baseball is so cool. It's you see something different all the time, and you still do in our game. And situationally, I think that's what makes it super exciting, right? Our game needs to be efficient, so we're always learning. We're always figuring out what kind of exploits are out there. What are people complaining about? That different kind of stuff. That really drives us to go into motion capture and get these things that potentially are frustrating for users in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So efficiency is important. And so we need to make sure that if they can turn a double play, they're able to turn a double play. If a guy knocks a ball down, we quickly go pick the ball up when we throw a guy out, right? We don't want him sitting around and waiting. It's frustrating. A catcher running ball in the outfield, I want to quickly turn around and throw.
Absolutely.
So just a couple of examples. We did many, but I just wanted to get a couple of examples. I think the right-handed first baseman in our game, if you ever played first base in real life, you understand that this ball is a difficult ball when I'm trying to turn a double play because I have to throw across my body, and in the past we've always thrown across the body. This year we got new catches for the first baseman specifically for this situation, so that he sets up the same way a real Major League first baseman would set up when he's going to turn in a double play, a 3-6-3 or a 3-6-1 double play. You could see in these examples that he's get his body in position to turn the double play, right? So we have, I don't know how many of those catches. There's some where he has to charge. There's some where he sits back. There's different heights, but we cover every area, just to his right, just to his left. And in these examples, you can see how efficient these are when he catches that ball in terms of double play. That's just one example of something that's always kind of bugged me, and I think that having the catch played because of the situation is super cool.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think, instead of just saying, here's a bunch of catches in the game, just play any catch at any time. No, we're looking at the situation and saying, well, we're going to play these catches. He won't play that catch if he's charging the ball to throw the ball to home plate, right? So if there's a guy in third and that ball's hit to him, he's going to come get it and give him a better opportunity to throw the guy out the plate. So he understands he's going to turn this double play. And that's why he's setting up like that. Okay, you can move on now. And that's just an example of him moving to his right. It's just another one of the variety that we have for that play. And then staying on the efficiency front, we added a whole bunch of new double play on the run catches.
Yeah, these are good.
I love double plays, probably my favorite. So you're going to see a bunch of double play examples. You can move on to the on the run double play catches. So you can see he's not to the bag yet, but he started his catch already. And we had some of these in there in the past, but we added a whole bunch of new ones. So what makes this more efficient than what has been in the past is the ability to be able to throw the ball at any time when you're turning a double play. And that's our goal. Our goal is to make sure if I catch the ball at third or short, anywhere in the infield, and I press throw to second, that he branches his throw and gets rid of the ball. In the past, you haven't always been able to do that. And this is a really good example of that, because he's playing in and the ball's hit hard to him. And a lot of times he would just go to the throw ready pose because the second baseman wasn't there and ready to make this catch. But now we have all these catches on the run that turn into double plays that allow you to get rid of the ball. So you can move on and just just play them and all the way through. And these are just kind of some pretty examples of of exactly what I was just talking about. The other thing that we did, which is a small thing but a big thing for me, is the exchange. So if you see him reaching into the glove, the way he catches the ball and he goes in to grab it, in the past you would see a lot of times where the ball would go through the fingers or his hands through the glove. We worked on the exchange of catching the ball to the hand, and you'll see this in the pitching as well this year, which is, there's just a pet peeve of mine. If you got that view from behind the pitcher and you're showing the guy reach into the glove to get the ball, instead of poking through the ball and getting this weird, you'll see him grab the ball, change to the pitch type he's going to throw.
Yeah,
And,
that's real clean.
and
Colin,
it's those little things that are important.
You don't have that one field efficiency play that I added to the folder, do
clean.
you? Do you have that one play? Okay.
You love that one, huh?
I
You
wanna
want that
show,
in the play so
I
bad.
gotta show it to them at
Describe
some
it.
point. They want to see it.
You guys understand that Ramon, he comes on here and he's all excited all the time, and you think that that's him just coming on the stream. No, it's not. He comes into my office just as excited all the time about the game and about what he sees and about what he wants to contribute to the game. He loves it, and I love Ramon for that. I love the fact that he keeps me on my toes, and he knows where you guys are at as a community and what you guys want. And when he comes into my office and he's all lit up and I'm busy doing something, I kind of give him this look. He's like, I'll come back.
I'm like, you know,
If we don't have
cut
an
off,
email
man.
from you,
Throw
this time
home
of the year every
indicator
day,
on the cutoff, man. You put that in like 3 days ago.
yeah,
That was
Oh,
not
the cutoff game.
yeah,
I did it
it'd be a
later.
good
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah,
And then-
It was in
the
it-
throw
I-
home meter on the cutoff,
I
man.
did-
That was not.
Well,
in
it
the
wasn't
game
3
a week
days ago. It was a little longer than that. But it was. It's definitely something that kind of spawned from the perfect throw home, and I thought it just kind of clicked. Honestly, like I was trying to go to sleep at night and I couldn't because of this job, and things were going through my head, and I just thought it would be a really cool idea. Especially being a middle infielder and playing that position, I was just thinking how much easier it was to handle a ball that was thrown to my chest. Like, why don't I put that in the game? It makes a lot of sense. So I don't know. That's how some of these things happen. You guys are just laying in bed and thinking about that.
All
Light
right,
bulb.
we on to random infield plays.
So yeah, do you have any more questions about gameplay? He's just going to roll these. There's just some pretty plays that we put together showing some fielding efficiency, of double plays. You're going to show some outfield stuff too. Is there anything else that, while they watch this, that we didn't cover, do you
We
think?
talked about button action changes, ECI.
yeah,
Talked about catcher blocking, catcher stealing,
efficiency.
fielder
Dude.
efficiency.
I do want to mention, I did kind of briefly mention this, but we didn't talk anything about the CPU really, but the CPU is going to put pressure on you now. If any of you guys do play single player games and you're playing against the CPU, now that we've made these changes on the defensive side, we really want, again, you to have a different level of intensity and focus when you're playing defense. We want you to be more engaged when you play the game. I don't want it to feel so automatic. I don't want it to feel like you've seen that play before, you know what the result's going to be. Right. So the game is going to be different in that sense. And when you're playing the CPU, the base runners are going to be more aggressive on you this year because they know it's going to be more difficult for you to make those longer throws from the outfielder. Mm-hmm. So they're going to put the pressure on you a little bit more to try to nail that perfect meter, right?
Yeah.
And it's more exciting, and they're not going to be unrealistically aggressive. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're still going to be able to throw them out kind of like the way that you did before, right. Maybe a little bit more now if you're really good at the mechanics. So I think on the just knowing that you